Hello and welcome. Namaste from New Delhi. You're watching DD India Live. I'm Gautam Roy. Coming up in the next 30 minutes. Russian and Ukrainian officials are holding a second round of direct peace talks in Istanbul after Kyiv struck Moscow's nuclear-capable bombers and Moscow hit back at it with its largest ever drone swarm attack to date. Prime Minister Narendra Modi addresses the 81st Annual General Meeting of the International Air Transport Association, that is IATA, in New Delhi, lauds the success of UDAN, India's flying scheme for all sections of society. The PM highlights areas of cooperation with Paraguay for economic partnership. Also notes India and Paraguay stand united in the fight against terrorism during the visit of the Paraguayan president to Delhi. And British Prime Minister Keir Starmer announces the decision to expand UK's nuclear-powered attack submarine fleet and shift the purpose of its armed forces to a state of war-fighting readiness. Now, in line with his commitment to developing world-class air infrastructure and enhancing connectivity, Prime Minister Narendra Modi addressed the 81st Annual General Meeting of the International Air Transport Association, or IATA, in New Delhi. IATA's 81st Annual General Meeting and World Air Transport Summit, that's WATS, are being held from the 1st to the 3rd of June in Delhi. The last AGM in India was held 42 years ago in 1983. Now, this brings together more than 1,600 participants, including top global aviation industry leaders, government officials and international media representatives. Prime Minister Modi said that the success of UDAN scheme is a golden chapter in Indian civil aviation. The PM also said that India is the world's third largest domestic aviation market.
ग्लोबल एविएशन इकोसिस्टम में हम न केवल एक विशाल मार्केट है, बल्कि पॉलिसी लीडरशिप, इनोवेशन और इंक्लूसिव डेवलपमेंट के प्रतीक भी है। आज भारत ग्लोबल स्पेस एविएशन कन्वर्जेंस का एक उभरता हुआ लीडर है।
Now, Paraguay President Santiago Peña is on a 3-day state visit to India. He met Prime Minister Modi in the national capital and held discussions at Hyderabad House in New Delhi. Later, both the leaders held a delegation-level talks, taking a new momentum in bilateral relations. This is the first visit of President Peña to India and only the second visit by a president of Paraguay. During the bilateral meeting, Prime Minister Modi described the visit as historic, noting that it marked only the second time that a president of Paraguay has visited India. He highlighted the significance of the visit, which includes stops in both Delhi and Mumbai, as a strong reflection of Paraguay's commitment to strengthening mutual ties.
आपकी यात्रा बहुत ही ऐतिहासिक है। दूसरी बार पैराग्वे के किसी राष्ट्रपति की भारत यात्रा हो रही है। एक्सेलेंसी, मुझे खुशी है कि आपके साथ सीनियर मंत्री, अच्छा एक बड़ा ताकतवर डेलीगेशन आपके साथ आया है। आप केवल दिल्ली नहीं बल्कि मुंबई भी जा रहे हैं। इससे आपसी संबंधों को प्रगाढ़ करने की आपकी प्रतिबद्धता बिल्कुल स्पष्ट है। मेरा विश्वास है कि आपसी सहयोग से हम साझी समृद्धि का मार्ग प्रशस्त करेंगे। एक्सेलेंसी, हमारे पास आर्थिक सहयोग सहित डिजिटल टेक्नोलॉजी, क्रिटिकल मिनरल्स, ऊर्जा, कृषि, स्वास्थ्य, डिफेंस, रेलवे तथा स्पेस जैसे क्षेत्रों में सहयोग के नए अवसर हैं।
Prime Minister Modi also expressed appreciation to Paraguayan President for strong condemnation of the recent terrorist attack in Pahalgam. Both the leaders strongly condemned terrorism and violent extremism in all its forms and manifestations, reaffirming their shared commitment to global peace and security.
Prime Minister Modi expressed his deep appreciation to Paraguay for its strong condemnation of the terrorist attack in Pahalgam, as well as for the sincere condolences and solidarity expressed with the people and the government of India. Both leaders unequivocally condemned terrorism and violent extremism in all its forms and manifestations.
It was also said that the leaders discussed the full spectrum of bilateral ties, including trade and investment, health and pharmaceuticals, defense and security, as well as people-to-people ties.
The two leaders held a comprehensive discussion on the entire spectrum of bilateral relations, including trade and investment, health and pharmaceuticals, defense and security, infrastructure, mining and mineral resources, agriculture and food security, green energy, ICT, digitalization, innovation, disaster management, science and technology, education, and people-to-people links.
The MEA's Secretary East also said that the two sides share a strong convergence on matters of global importance. India also sought Paraguay's support for its candidate for a non-permanent seat on the United Nations Security Council.
Both countries expressed their willingness to continue working together on matters of common interest in various multilateral organizations, including the United Nations. India sought the support of Paraguay for India's candidature for a UN Security Council non-permanent seat for the period 2028-29.
Paraguay President received a ceremonial welcome and a guard of honor on his arrival in India. India and Paraguay established diplomatic relations on the 13th of September 1961 and have since shared warm and cooperative ties. Over the years, both the nations have expanded their collaboration in key sectors such as trade, agriculture, health, pharmaceuticals and information technology. Earlier, the visiting president paid homage to Mahatma Gandhi at Rajghat. President Peña is accompanied by a high-level delegation comprising ministers, senior officials and business representatives. As part of the visit, he will also travel to Mumbai before concluding his trip on the 4th of this month. Also, India and Paraguay took another step towards strengthening bilateral relations as External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar called on the Paraguayan president on Monday. Dr. Jaishankar praised President Peña's positive outlook and said his discussions with Prime Minister Modi would help open new avenues for engagement between India and Paraguay as well as the wider South American region. India's Commerce and Industry Minister Piyush Goyal is on a 3-day visit to France to strengthen economic ties and explore investment opportunities with global partners. Piyush Goyal held meetings with CEOs of Vicat and Total Energies, who showed strong interest in expanding investments in India. He expressed gratitude to France for its support in the fight against terrorism and emphasized strengthening bilateral ties. Goyal held productive bilateral talks on trade, market access and strategic partnerships, and is scheduled to meet executives from major firms like Renault, EDF and L'Oreal, highlighting India's commitment to deepening global economic engagement.
France is playing an important role in many of our technological collaborations, be it in the space sector, defense sector, precision engineering, artificial intelligence. We also have a very strong collaboration with France on insurance and financial services. The recent agreement to establish the Yuga Yugin Bharat Museum, the world's largest museum, when at Kartavya Path, is something we are doing in collaboration with the Louvre, the museum in Paris. So all in all, it's a very wide-ranging subject of engagement with France.
Now let's talk about India's global outreach in the wake of Operation Sindoor. Well, the all-party delegation led by DMK MP Kanimori in Madrid, Spain, met with a delegation of senators of the Spanish Senate and senior officials of the government of Spain. The Indian delegation outlined India's stand on terrorism and also apprised the Spanish side about India's measured response during Operation Sindoor. The Spanish delegation expressed their condolences to the innocent lives being lost in the horrific terror attack in Pahalgam on the 22nd of April. And earlier, the delegation also met the Association of Victims of Terrorism in Madrid. This is one of the largest such associations in the world that works with more than 4,000 victims of terrorism, providing psychological and psychosocial support to victims. Both India and Spain share common pain of terrorism, as both the countries have been affected with acts of terror repeatedly. Also, the high-level delegation led by Member of Indian Parliament Sanjay Kumar Jha has been in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. The Group 3 of all-party delegations met Malaysian Indian Congress representatives led by Tan Sri Vigneswaran. And if you talk about the parliamentary delegation led by Member of Parliament Ravi Shankar Prasad, it has had interactions with the London think tanks. Earlier, they met with UK Shadow Foreign Secretary Preeti Patel and her team to share India's firm resolve in combating cross-border terrorism. They also highlighted how Operation Sindoor exemplifies the new normal set by India in this ongoing effort. And still to come in this edition of DD India Live. Hungary's foreign minister calls Poland's Karol Nawrocki win a great patriotic victory. Police detain a person believed to be involved in the Colorado flamethrower attack, which left 8 people injured. And Australian all-rounder Glenn Maxwell announces retirement from ODI cricket.
Always welcoming. The vibe of Punjab is larger than life. Warm up to grandeur that's beyond compare. And history that's dotted with tales of bravery. Smiling soul of India, where music, art, cuisine and culture comes together to create an unforgettable impression. Punjab is all set to win your hearts with its unique and colorful extravaganza.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India Live. I'm Gautam Roy. Now, Ukraine has expressed willingness to take necessary steps for peace in its ongoing negotiations with Russia and Istanbul on Monday. During these talks, both sides will represent their respective plans to resolve the ongoing conflict, which has been Europe's most significant conflict since the Second World War. The two sides are expected to discuss their respective ideas for what a full ceasefire and a longer-term path to peace should look like, amid stark disagreements and pressure from US President Donald Trump, who's threatened to walk away from talks. Meanwhile, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky and leaders of NATO's Eastern and Nordic members gathered in Vilnius, the Lithuanian capital. For the start of talks, President Zelensky said on Monday that a meeting with his Russian and US counterparts could resolve key issues of the ongoing conflict. However, amid ongoing efforts for a ceasefire, Ukraine and Russia have sharply ramped up the conflict with one of the biggest drone battles since February 2022. At least 7 people have been killed and 69 injured when a highway bridge in Russia's Bryansk region, neighboring Ukraine, was blown up over a passenger train heading to Moscow with 388 people on board. Ukraine attacked Russian nuclear-capable long-range bombers at a military base deep in Siberia on Sunday as well. Ukraine's domestic intelligence service, the SBU, acknowledged it carried out the attack, codenamed Operation Spider's Web, planned for more than a year and a half. And Russia, in turn, launched 472 drones at Ukraine overnight and also launched 7 missiles. Also intercepted 162 Ukrainian drones overnight as well. The majority of the drones were shot down over the regions bordering Ukraine, with 57 intercepted, and over the Kursk region and 31 over the Belgorod region. UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer announced that on Monday that Britain will expand its nuclear power, attack submarine fleet and shift the purpose of its armed forces to a state of war-fighting readiness. The changes are part of a defence review that is designed to prepare the country to fight a modern war and counter the threat from Russia. Starmer, like other European leaders, is racing to rebuild Britain's military capabilities after US President Trump told the continent it needed to take more responsibility for its own security. Starmer addressed workers at BAE Systems' Govan shipbuilding site in Scotland, saying he would end the hollowing out of our armed forces.
I can announce today that we're going to build at least 6 new munitions factories in the United Kingdom, generating over 1,000 jobs. We will build thousands of new long-range weapons in the United Kingdom to boost European deterrence, supporting around 800 more jobs. We will defend our homeland by investing in our air and missile defence to better protect these islands.
Polish nationalist opposition candidate Karol Nawrocki won the second round of the country's presidential election with 50.89% of the votes. Nawrocki, who's 42 years old, a Eurosceptic historian and amateur boxer who ran a National Remembrance Institute, campaigned on a promise to ensure economic and social policy favours Poles over other nationalities, including refugees from neighbouring Ukraine. His rival Rafał Trzaskowski, the Liberal Warsaw mayor and an ally of the government led by Donald Tusk, got 49.11%. While Poland's parliament holds more power, the president can veto legislation, and the vote was being watched closely in Ukraine as well as Russia, the United States and across the European Union. Hungary's foreign minister congratulated Poland's president-elect Karol Nawrocki on a great patriotic victory on Monday after the Eurosceptic nationalist candidate won Poland's tightest fought presidential race.
First of all, there was a great patriotic victory in the presidential election in Poland. This victory provides a new opportunity to return to the Hungarian-Polish interstate relations, which were deliberately destroyed by the Polish government, to their old course.
Now, Mexicans chose their judges in unprecedented elections that sharply divided opinion in a country plagued by rampant crime, corruption and impunity. According to the National Electoral Institute, turnout reached only around 13% of the 100 million eligible voters. With more than 880 positions to fill, many voters struggle to choose from the plethora of largely unknown candidates. The vote will elect 2,600 judges and magistrates, including all Supreme Court justices, and is part of a reform pushed by former President Andrés Manuel Obrador and his protege and successor Sheinbaum. Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum said the election will root out corruption in a flawed judiciary and instead allow people to decide who should be a judge. In Boulder, Colorado in the US, several individuals sustained injuries in what the FBI is investigating as targeted terror attacks. A man allegedly threw Molotov cocktail-like devices near pro-Israeli demonstrators, while police have a suspect in custody. The Boulder police chief refutes the FBI's terror claim, citing the investigation's early stage. Take a look.
The Federal Bureau of Investigation in the US is investigating a targeted terror attack where multiple people were set on fire Sunday afternoon near Pearl Street Mall in Boulder, Colorado. Multiple people were injured, one of them critically, when an attacker used an incendiary device on demonstrators who were marching to buoy awareness of hostages held by Hamas terrorists in Gaza. Witnesses said the suspect threw Molotov cocktails that burned some or all of the victims, who were part of a march for Israeli hostages.
It's very scary and it's a huge shock, and it's a big thing that sadly we've experienced before, but it's really scary and it's really upsetting that it's happening in Boulder.
FBI Special Agent in charge of the Denver field office, Mark Michalik, said there were 6 victims aged between 67 and 88 years who were transported to hospitals. Michalik said a male suspect was taken into custody named Mohammed Soliman, who was aged 45. Soliman was hospitalized shortly after the attack.
We're early in the investigation, but some details have emerged. I'm able to confirm there are 6 victims, ages 67 to 88. All of them have been transported to local hospitals. This attack happened at a regularly scheduled weekly peaceful event. Witnesses are reporting that the subject used a makeshift flamethrower and threw an incendiary device into the crowd. The suspect was heard to yell, "Free Palestine," during the attack. The subject has been identified as Mohammed Sabri Solomon, and he's 45 years old. The FBI is processing the crime scene and the subject vehicle and interviewing key witnesses.
FBI Director Kash Patel said the agency was aware of and fully investigating the targeted terror attack. Colorado Attorney General Phil Weiser said it appeared to be a hate crime given the group that was targeted. But Boulder Police Chief Redfern stressed it was too soon to speculate about a motive. The incident comes amid heightened tensions in the United States over Israel's conflict in Gaza, which has spurred both an increase in anti-Semitic hate crime. Bureau Report, TD India.
And Prime Minister Narendra Modi congratulated the Indian athletes for their exemplary performance at the Asian Athletics Championships in South Korea as well. The PM posted on social media platform X, and I quote, "India is proud of our contingent for their stupendous performance at the recently held 2025 Asian Athletics Championships in South Korea. The hard work and determination of every athlete was clearly visible throughout the tournament. Best wishes to the athletes for their future endeavours." End quote. Now, India ended the championships with 24 medals, including 8 gold, 10 silver and 6 bronze. Gulveer Singh won the first gold medal for India in the men's 10,000 metre race. He also won the men's 5,000 metre race. Parul Chaudhary showed her stellar form by bagging silver in the women's 5,000 metre race. In the women's 800 metre race, Pooja Singh claimed bronze. Over 60 Indian athletes competed at the tournament in Gumi City from the 27th to the 31st of May. Now, Australian all-rounder Glenn Maxwell announced his retirement from one-day international cricket on Monday. After making his debut against Afghanistan in 2012, Maxwell made 149 one-day appearances for Australia, scoring 3,990 runs. Maxwell also claimed 77 wickets in the 50-over format with his handy off-spin and also took 91 catches. Maxwell played crucial roles in Australia's 2015 and 2023 one-day World Cup wins. In 2023, he produced one of the most iconic knocks in the tournament's history when he scored an unbeaten 201 in a match-winning chase against Afghanistan, battling severe cramps. Also, South African batter Henrik Klaasen has retired from all forms of international cricket on Monday as he aims to strike a work-life balance. 33-year-old Klaasen is one of the world's most destructive batters in white ball cricket and a mainstay of the South African limited over side in recent years. Klaasen said, and I quote, "I look forward to spend more time with my family as this decision will allow me to do so." End quote. Klaasen appeared in 60 one-day internationals where he scored 2,141 runs with 4 centuries and 11 50s. He scored exactly 1,000 runs in 58 T20 internationals. He also played 4 test matches for South Africa. He is likely to maintain his presence on the global T20 League circuit. And Russian teenager Mira Andreeva became the youngest player to reach back-to-back French Open quarterfinals in nearly 3 decades after she defeated Daria Kasatkina. The 18-year-old, who has not dropped a set at Roland Garros, sealed a 6-3, 7-5 win over Kasatkina of Australia in the 4th round. This victory helped her match the feat of Martina Hingis between 1997 and 1998. Andreeva reached the semi-final last year with a shock quarter-final win over Arina Sabalenka. And that's all we have for this edition of DD India Live, but let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. And for those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on DD India's mobile app. It's available on both Android and iOS. Just scan the QR code on the screen and download the apps right away. And we'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Gautam Roy, and from all of us here in Delhi, thanks for watching DD India Live.